Here we're looking at another relationship and we're trying to determine whether or not it's a function. The elements where the arrows are starting would be considered the domain elements, and the elements where the arrows are ending would be considered the range elements. And we could think about this as a collection of ordered pairs where the chevron is going to correspond to 2.09, where shell is going to correspond to the price per gallon, $2.16, where the Gulf is going to correspond to the Y value, $2.21, and Exxon is going to correspond also to $2.16. So we're trying to determine, does each domain element correspond to only one range element? And we can see that, yeah, chevron is only going to correspond to one price per gallon, not two different price per gallons. Shell only corresponds to 216, Gulf only corresponds to 221, and Exxon only goes to one price per gallon as well. We can see that in the arrows that my arrows are only going to one price. None of these arrows go to two different prices. And so in this particular situation, we would say that it is, yes, a function. Now, it is worth mentioning that we do have one price that two different companies go to. Both Shell and Exxon share the same price. But that's okay in a function. We can have two domain elements going to the same range element. We just can't have one domain element going to two range elements. Let's look at another example. Here we have another relationship where the domain elements are carats measuring the size of a precious gem, and the range elements are the corresponding prices of those gemstones. And we're wanting to know whether or not this is a function. So does each domain element correspond to only one range element? Well, this one corresponds only to one range. However, the gemstone that is 0.71 carats corresponds to the price $15.75, but it also corresponds to the price $19.52. So within our set of ordered pairs, we would have two of them being 0.71 that goes to $15.75, but also 0.71 going to $19.52. And since we have one domain element corresponding to two different range elements, this would be not a function.